George Galloway has always had a way with words. That's partly why, along with Winston Churchill, he's one of 2 MPs to have ever been elected in 4 different constituencies. Yes, really. Galloway's oratory has been indefatigable, perspicacious. And now, the former MP for Rochdale, Bowen Bethnal Green, Bradford West, and Glasgow Hillhead and Kelvin is done with the Arabs. That's it. It's over. Here's Galloway speaking on his YouTube channel last week.
Wow, God bless you. Thank you, May. No, I will never give up. I have many other struggles to fight, and I'll go on fighting them. But I feel that that part of my life, fighting for the Arabs, with the Arabs, behind the Arabs, alongside them, I feel that that period has now ended. First, the destruction of Iraq, then the destruction of Syria has changed everything for me. So I'll probably begin focusing more on other places. I think the Arabs are a lost cause, frankly, at least for the time being. But thank you for the beautiful call.
The Arabs are a lost cause. I don't think he means Palestine. I mean, who knows? I think, in a way, what he's saying there makes sense. Baathism is dead. It died, obviously, in Iraq with the fall of Saddam. It's now died in Syria too. People call Galloway a grifter, and I think he's very opportunistic on some things. On Palestine, the guy has been very committed to the cause since he was 18 years old. So I don't think he means the Palestinians. Anyway, what Galloway said next was bizarre.
Because such Takfiri Islamist fanaticism can never liberate the Arabs, has no wish to liberate the Arabs, doesn't even see itself as Arab. There were only 25,000 fighters in Golani's army, and 5,000 of those were Chinamen. Chinamen, Uyghurs, who don't even speak Arabic, don't even know who the Arab music stars whose albums they're burning right now, don't even know who they are. Never tasted Syrian hummus or shakshuka. Don't care for it. They eat rice for their breakfast, you see. 5,000 out of 25,000 are Chinamen.
I've listened to that so many times, obviously, because we're talking about it on the show today. But it is just remarkable. Chinaman! And the fact that, he has this gift. George Galloway, Ash, he can speak he sounds like a boomer Arab nativist. He's like, they don't know what it's like to have hummus for breakfast. They eat rice for breakfast. I can imagine my great-grandfather, who was a Turkish speaker from southern Russia, I can imagine him saying that. I don't trust the Chinese. They eat rice for breakfast, not nun sangak. Rice, can you believe it? And this is coming from the mouth of a man who's from Dundee. I mean, it's kind of incredible, right?
I mean, yeah, it is incredible. And I think what it shows is a certain selectivity. Now, I think it's not only fine, I think it's really good to look skeptically and critically at HTS. There is this ongoing conversation about to what extent have they left behind their previous affiliations with Al-Qaeda, of course, people fighting with HTS. Some of them also fought with ISIS as well. There's an ongoing conversation about whether or not they're a sort of Taliban-like force in that. What they want to do is come in, reassure Western audiences, but once it's sort of established that there is no more real American interest in Syria, they can sort of do what they like domestically, as long as they don't fund or participate in overseas terrorism. All right, those are all important things to look critically at, and I don't blame George Galloway or anyone else one bit for wanting to look critically at that. But it's one thing to go, oh, okay, well, many of these fighters with HTS, they're not even Arab. Some of them are Chinamen, which is just an absolutely horrible word to use, by the way, unacceptable word. Identifying the fact that many are Uyghurs. But I mean, come on, like the the forces upholding Assad's regime were Russian. I mean, they weren't Arab either. If you want to think about, other kind of key relationships for Assad, I mean, you had Russia, you also had Iran. I mean, Iranians don't consider themselves Arabs either. Though, Aaron, you can tell me what it is Iranians have for breakfast. So there seems to be a lot of sort of selectiveness here, which is sort of upholding, kind of Arab nationalism and an Arab national identity when it's time to criticize HTS, but suddenly all of that goes out the window when you think about some of the realities of Assad's regime. And I think that the purpose of all of this, what it intends to obscure, perhaps, is the fact that regardless of the deep divisions within Syria about who to support and what comes next, regardless of the impact and interventions of of foreign operators, whether they're foreign fighters or foreign governments, including Turkey, the US, Israel, Russia, and Iran, regardless of all of those things, Assad was kept in power by a system of detention, torture, extortion, and war waged against his own people. So to look at Assad as the sort of embodiment of a authentically, Syrian, national idea, and through that embodiment of that idea, a connection to the Syrian people and a regard for their well-being is just clearly untrue. I mean, one of the things that's now emerging is the extent of the Assad family's money, which has been stashed in London banks and funneled through our very own local Channel Islands tax havens, which has been stolen from the Syrian people. So I'm not saying that to be anti-Assad means that you have to be anti-HTS. You have to be pro-HTS, right? Far from it, right? You can be anti-Assad. You can also look very, very critically at HTS. But I think that there is no small degree of romanticization going on, Aaron. But yeah, maybe you could tell me, what do Iranians have for breakfast?
Well, I think it depends on where they're from. I think if you're from the north, you might have something called halim, which I think you also get in South Asia. I don't know. It's kind of like a porridge, and you have lamb with it. Kind of weird. Or you'd have bread with cheese, nuts, herbs, bit of tea, a few eggs. It's a big country, so north, south, all quite different. But yeah, halim, where my dad's from, really, halim or noon sangak with eggs and paneer would be about right. I just, Galloway is just such an extraordinary character, isn't he, Ash? Because it's almost like he's a novelist. His ability to get into the psychology of like a boomer, Baathist, who's 70 years old. The talking, he's literally saying the talking points. They don't know what it's like to eat hummus. Well, nor does a Russian from St. Petersburg, right? Anyway, I thought it was a funny clip. He is a large-than-life character, it's fair to say.